Hello my friends who are listening to Ebird Online. I hope everybody's well. This is the first of my videos for this week. And today I'm going to chart the demise of the relationship of Mike and Ximena. Okay, so as we all know, well, everyone except the pea-brain that is Mike, Ximena's got the ick. And as every human on planet Earth knows, except I guess for Mike and Harvey Weinstein, once someone finds you physically repulsive, that's it, finished, terminado, game over, done, finito. Mike, on your bike. But this week we realise that Mike's predilection for humiliation simply knows no bounds. And as so often happens, when people who indulge in transactional relationships realise that things aren't going to plan, we have the age-old cry, and this week Mike was no different. He said, Ximena's a gold digger. Mike, she's an employee, as well you know. So guys, just before we begin, I just want to remind you to subscribe to my channel if you've yet to do so. And also I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who's subscribed to my channel thus far. I genuinely appreciate it, and I do read all of your comments, and some of them, at some point, as a time as yet undefined, I will be making a video of the funniest comments. Guys, I've had some absolute howlers this season, so I have to get them down somewhere for prosperity. But yes, thank you again for all of the support. But don't forget, if you enjoy this video, to smash that like button. It really does help with my algorithm. Right, so without further ado, I give you Mike and Ximena. So every week for the last few weeks now, I've been thinking this relationship is at an end. It can't go on beyond the end of this episode, but yet somehow it drags along. And I keep wondering, but how? And this next scene illuminates everything, because Ximena and her sister are at home with her mum. And Ximena's mum asks her, are you and Mike okay? And Ximena says, fine, in her best, not fine voice. But straight away, her sister grasses her up, and she says she's been fighting with Mike, and she's really tough on him. And then Ximena says, well, he is sleeping in a different room from me, and I need time to think about things, because marriage is a really serious step. It's quite a big deal. And her mum said, what's the problem? And Ximena said, Mum, he's weird. Oh, Ximena, she knows that. What else? But then Ximena tells of a tale so disgusting that no amount of money, no amount of finances preferred can make up for this. So guys, remember when he got dog do on his shoe? Instead of taking it outside and scrubbing it, which in fact I vividly remember Ximena telling him to do, he instead just put his trainers into the washing machine. Ew, Mike, you're disgusting. That's literally vile behaviour. I'm literally disgusted by you. But no guys, it really is. Ugh. Oh Mike, the whole world thinks you're a dirty pig. But wait, there's more. Ximena hasn't done yet. And she says, Mum, every day when I wake up, I look over and there's this strange thing looking at me with staring eyes. Oh, Ximena, that's the weird bug. That's all that is. But it would seem her mum's team Mike. As well she might be, because Mike's paying her rent and she doesn't have to sleep with him. And she tells production she really likes Mike because he shows her daughter unconditional love and he's great with the kids. And she further says that Ximena doesn't think like a rational person. Mama, you got that right, because if she had any rational thoughts in her head, she wouldn't have gotten involved with a loser like Mike in the first instance. And so her sister advises her just to be patient. And the next time we see this couple, Mike has decided to talk to her mum. He's sitting in the living room and he asks her what she thinks he should do to mend the relationship. Complete bodily metamorphosis? And Mike continues, I think we're going backwards. And so her mum said, well, I have noticed that she's not treating you well and she's been very cold. The only advice I can give is to be patient. She's never really had a serious relationship before. Mama, she doesn't have one now. These two are client and service provider. Escort and John. Employer and employee. That's what this is. And her mum finishes up by saying, just be patient. You're a very good opportunity for her and the kids. Let's just hope she'll reconsider. And so, surprise, surprise, Mike takes great comfort in the fact that he's her first serious boyfriend. And he says, she's my first serious girlfriend too. So I understand, that's maybe why she's behaving like she is. Mike, you're looking for scraps. You're looking for tiny slivers of reason to cling on for dear life. You're looking for reasons to accept the fact that she's literally disgusted by you. Mike, the machete's at the ready, and she's angling to chop your fingers loose. Just drop to the ground at a time of your own choosing. Make your own moves. Stop being so pathetic. Anyway, next time we see these two, they're going out in a taxi. Ximena's wearing a top and jeans, and Mike gushes, "Oh, you look nice." And she says, "Oh, thanks." And he said, "What about me?" And she said, "Same. You look the same." And he said, "Thanks." And he looked really pleased. Mike, what for?" She's just said same. I.e., you look like a weird bug before, and you look like a weird bug now. Where's the compliment? But he's off on a roll, and he speaks to production. He says, "I'm feeling really hopeful. I'm hoping we can get the spark back in our relationship." They can't. And so the couple have decided to go playing pool. And Mike said, "Are you excited?" And Ximena said, "I don't know how to play." And Mike said, "Oh, don't worry, I can teach you." And then he repeats to her what her mum said about him being her first serious relationship. And she scoffed, and she said, "You're not my first serious relationship. I've had 2 or 3, but I get bored quickly." And Mike said, "Well then why did you want to get married?" And she said, "I didn't necessarily. It's you who wanted to get married quickly." And so they get into the bar and they're having a couple of drinks and playing a game of pool. And guys, Ximena did not tell a lie. She's rubbish at pool, but luckily for her, she's still much, much better than Mike. But notwithstanding the fact that Mike's absolutely crap, the weird bug wants to help teach her. And every time she goes to take a shot, Mike's sort of hovering behind her, trying to help her line the shot up. Mike, if you know so much, do it for yourself. Your balls are jumping off the table. You're potting the white balls. You're missing balls. You've got no balls. Sorry guys, it was too easy and too cheap to let it go. But he says, "I want to help teach you." Oh Mike, how to miss the ball, how to be utterly shit, come on now. Ximena wins the game easily and they sit down for a chat. And Mike said, "This is nice, isn't it? Isn't it great just us two going out?" And Ximena says, "No, not really, because my kids come first and I'd rather be with them." Oh Lord, guys, beware. Mike's delusions are still at large. He tells production, "I'm walking on eggshells. I don't know what to think. Does she want me around? Does she want me to go? I just don't know. Mike, please let the Ebird refer you to a list I made some weeks ago. Remember this? Gross, super gross like a kid. He's disgusting and he disgusts me. Infuriating, very disappointing, a guy who can't wipe his own butt. You're like a child, you're creepy and you're a weirdo. You're stressful and annoying. You're exhausting, you're like a weird bug and you're a degenerate." And finally, he's slobbish and piggish. And since the Ebird helpfully compiled that list of adjectives, Ximena's added to it. She's called you a strange thing, dirty, disgusting, and last but not least, pathetic. If there's any doubt in your mind, Mike, think about that list. Think about it. She doesn't like you. The skin is crawling off her back. She's literally disgusted by you. Remember? If you need any more confirmation, please do let me know. Guys, I really can't with Mike. I really can't. He knows good and well she wants him out. But for some strange reason, he's trying to pretend she's given me mixed signals. She isn't. Even when she slept with you, she flat out refused to do it again, ever. And in fact, yes, I will say ever, because she said, "We'll only sleep together when we're married. You'll never be married. So ergo, ever." And they're still sitting in the bar, and Mike's got the bit between his teeth now. He said, "Your feelings have changed to me when I stopped saying yes to buying everything." No, Mike, her feelings changed towards you once she got to know you, when she got to know your personality, when she got to know your disgusting ways. That's when things changed. And Ximena said, "Ke? You still pay my rent, so that's not it." But she's very angry, and when she goes to speak to production, she said, "He's trying to humiliate me by throwing this in my face. It offends me, and it makes me angry." And guys, this is what pushed her over the edge. And she said, "Mike, I just want to be friends. I'll pay for myself, and we will no longer be boyfriend and girlfriend." And Mike said, "Really? You're finishing with me? Right, everything I paid for in that apartment, I'm going to take back to New York." "Oh, right, I see. So, the fridge freezer, well, that should fit in the side compartment of your suitcase. The food processor, well, that should fit into your wallet. And the one-seater sofa should be okay to go in as hand luggage." Guys, Mike absolutely kills me. What an absolute dipshit. Oh Lord. He's not just a weird bug, he's also a fucking clown. Right, so... Well, to this, Ximena just shrugged. And she said, take everything from my house if you want it. Today, our relationship is over for good, and I'm serious. But yet again, Mike's boo-hoo-hooing to production, and he says, I don't know what I did wrong. You were just you, Mike. That's what was wrong. And he said, I've tried to fix myself. All the things she didn't like from my first trip, I tried to make better for the second trip. Mike, the moment you got back, you trailed dog shit into her house, and then you put it in the washing machine, where she washes the sheets that her children sleep on, where she washes the whole family's clothes. Don't you get it? But then, guys, Mike made me laugh once more, because he ran out into the street like a mentalist, Paul style. Remember Paul from season 3? He ran like that down the street. After seeing Mike run off like a freakazoid, production go back to Ximena, who's busy crying in the bar, but I can't help but notice she does look mighty relieved. And that was everything for this week, but we see a great trailer for next week, and the couple are back at the house. And Ximena's telling Mike, well, you should probably move into a hotel. And if we remember back, just last week Mike said, do you want me to go and book into a hotel? And she said, no, don't do that, stay here. But it would seem that Mike's had a change of mind. He says, I'm not booking into a hotel. I've paid all the rent on this apartment, so I'm going to be staying here. There's no way I'm moving. And then he gives production a list about Ximena of his own. He says she's mean, evil, using me for money, and an old bit. The list isn't quite so exhaustive, but I have to say it's pretty on point, and that's where we leave things for this week. So what does the Ebird make to all of this? Finally, this hell is over. They were mismatched from, the first time Ximena said, yep, can't have kids, had my tube tied. At that point, it was at a very low point, and it's only gone downhill ever since. But I think Mike's being rather pathetic. He's got the audacity to try and give that stupid and well-worn narrative, she's a gold digger. 1. Mike, you don't have any gold to dig. I can imagine you've given quite a bit of money each month from your pay packet, but there's no gold there, that's for sure. Secondly, you met her as a cam girl, and so you knew what it was all along. You knew what it was before we knew what it was. And I genuinely believe the only reason she stopped doing her cam girl work was because Mike said, oh, don't do that, now you're my girlfriend, I'll just give you the money. Maybe he felt in control, but he never really was, and now he's just realising this. He's acting all butthurt. For some bizarre reason, and I find this quite often actually, people that are going abroad and they're trying to purchase people from what they consider to be third world countries imagine their American dollar stretches far further than it actually does. We saw it last week with Gino and Jasmine. Gino offhandedly said, oh, I'll just pay you until you get another job. And she said, I make $3,000 a month. Now, lots of people made comments saying, we don't think she does. I've actually checked it out. I know that she worked at a private school and they on average pay significantly more than state schools. But even at a state school, her salary was likely to be $2,000 to $2,600, which is nearer the top end. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if she was on $3,000. And we also saw the same thing with Sojaboy and Kim. Sojaboy saying, do you know what, take your gifts back then. No big deal, so what? And we've seen it so often in previous seasons with Ed and Rose. And I think really there's one important thing to remember. Firstly, even if the person is from an extremely poor country, they may not be poor. So your Western currency may not have the value you think it does. And the second thing is, the countries that we think of as poor are not necessarily that poor. I'd never considered what Panama was like previously. I've never been there. But from the little that we've seen, it seems extremely advanced. So much so that Gino's dollar isn't worth as much as he thinks. It seems as if Colombia is slightly poorer, but it's still by no means a third world country. It is not a poor country as such. And so Mike, your threats of, I'll withdraw my funding, ain't that big a deal. All that means is she's going to have to wait a little longer for her guts and tits. That's literally it. And the second thing that struck me in this week's episode was Ximena's family. It seems as if they all really want this relationship to go ahead. And I think that's why she's been having a problem in cutting Mike off for once and for all. Because they're in her ear saying, come on, think about it, go for it. I think there are lots of different reasons. One, just so she's settled. Two, because they think Mike's an okay person, even though he's a bit of a pig. Three, because they want the boys to have a father and a stable family home. And four, I guess, Mike is paying for everybody. So no one's going to want to stop that flow of free money. But overall, what I take from this week's episode is that Mike's really very shocked now that Ximena has finished with him. I think he was hoping against all hope that he could put this back together. But when she looked at him and said, "We're finished and I'm serious," I think she means it. Mike's got to pick himself up, dust himself off and find somebody new, if they'll have him. So guys, let me know what you think in comments down below and I'll get on with my next video. Please, if you've yet to do so, press subscribe and join the Ebird family. It's fun over here. Oh, really? Really? Yes, it is fun over here.
Stop recording.
No, I won't stop recording. You stop speaking. Sorry, guys. We've got an intruder. We've got an interloper. Shh. Yep, guys, hit that big red subscribe button and I'll see you soon. You've been listening to Ebird Online and I bid you good day.